President Joe Biden announced today that he is commuting the sentences of 37 individuals on federal death row to life imprisonment without parole, reducing the number of federal inmates awaiting execution to 3, as President-elect Donald Trump prepares to take office next month. Notably, Biden declined to commute the sentences of 3 individuals convicted of terrorism or mass murder. The announcement comes as opponents of capital punishment brace for the policies of the incoming Trump administration. During his campaign, Trump pledged to resume federal executions and expand the list of crimes eligible for the death penalty, including murder, espionage, treason, and certain drug offenses. Biden's announcement follows other recent clemency actions, including pardoning his son Hunter Biden for tax and gun convictions and granting clemency to approximately 1,500 individuals earlier this month in a record-breaking single-day action. Advocates for abolishing the death penalty, including the ACLU and over 130 civil rights organizations, have been urging Biden to fulfill his campaign promise to end the federal death penalty system. Only 55 of the 195 countries in the world still execute prisoners. During his presidency, Biden imposed a federal execution moratorium, and Attorney General Merrick Garland refrained from seeking the death penalty in new cases. While Biden's actions reflect federal inmates, over 2,000 individuals remain on death row in state prisons beyond the president's jurisdiction. Opponents of the death penalty fear that Donald Trump's return will lead to a resurgence of federal executions, similar to the final months of his first term, when 13 individuals were executed following a 17-year hiatus. Although a future Justice Department under Trump could pursue new death penalty cases, Biden's commutations remain irreversible. President Biden has achieved an historic milestone by appointing more federal judges of color than any previous president, surpassing Trump's record for overall federal judge appointments. On Friday last week, the Senate confirmed Benjamin Cheeks as a judge for the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of California. With this confirmation, Biden has now appointed 63 black federal judges, the highest number for any presidency, according to the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights. Earlier this month, Tiffany Johnson was confirmed as a judge for the Northern District of Georgia, becoming the 40th black woman appointed to a lifetime federal judgeship under Joe Biden. This achievement marks the most black women appointed by any president in a single term. Overall, 60% of Biden's 235 judicial appointees are people of color, based on figures from the White House. Recent confirmations include both Cheeks and Serena Raquel Murillo, reflecting Biden's commitment to diversifying the judiciary. Biden's 235 appointments surpassed Trump's first-term total of 234. His administration has also emphasized appointing judges from varied professional and demographic backgrounds, including former public defenders, civil rights lawyers, and attorneys representing workers. More than half of Biden's appointees are women, and many represent LGBTQ or other underrepresented communities. With Republicans set to regain Senate control in January, Senate Democrats are working to confirm as many of Biden's nominees as possible before Trump takes office. While dozens of nominees have been confirmed since Election Day, some circuit court nominees face opposition from both Democratic and Republican senators. Biden's reshaping of the federal judiciary reflects his administration's broader efforts to ensure a bench that better represents the diversity of the nation it serves. Biden also announced on Friday he would be canceling more student debt for tens of thousands of public service workers, possibly his last major move on the issue before leaving office in a month. The administration said it will spend nearly $4.3 billion to cancel student debt for 55,000 such workers. After Friday's announcement, the Biden administration had forgiven $180 billion in student loans for 5 million borrowers. Under the PSLF program, more than 1 million Americans received $78 billion in relief. On December 19th, Joe Biden unveiled an ambitious new climate target for the United States, a 61 to 66% reduction in net greenhouse gas emissions by 2035 compared to 2005 levels. This bold goal underscores the nation's commitment to combating climate change and sends a strong signal to the international community. The updated target was formally submitted to the United Nations Climate Change Secretariat as part of the U.S. nationally determined contribution under the Paris Climate Agreement. It builds significantly on the previous pledge of a 50 to 52% reduction by 2030, aligning the U.S. with the global goal of limiting warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. It also strengthens the pathway to President Biden's ultimate goal of achieving a net-zero greenhouse gas economy by 2050. This announcement comes during a politically sensitive period, with Trump expected to withdraw the U.S. from the Paris Agreement once again and dismantle key Biden-era climate policies. This potential policy reversal highlights the inherent fragility of long-term climate commitments within the U.S. federal system. For Joe Biden, the new target serves as both a legacy-defining moment and a rallying cry for action beyond federal leadership. It emphasizes the crucial role of state governments, tribal nations, local communities, and businesses in driving climate progress, even amid changing federal priorities. Achieving the 61 to 66% reduction by 2035 will require innovative policies, sustained investment, and broad collaboration across all sectors of society. States and local governments, alongside businesses, must lead with resilience and ingenuity, fostering solutions that maintain momentum regardless of federal uncertainty. The announcement represents a bold framework for U.S. climate action, reaffirming the nation's commitment to addressing global warming. While political and economic challenges remain, the target underscores the importance of continued leadership and unified efforts to build a sustainable and resilient future. Joe Biden's presidency has been transformative, with landmark domestic achievements rivaling Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal and Lyndon Johnson's Great Society. In a survey last year of 154 political scientists and presidential experts, Biden was ranked number 14 among U.S. presidents, while Lincoln, Roosevelt, and George Washington claimed the top 3 spots respectively. The disgraced former President Trump ranked last at number 45. Many anticipate Joe Biden's standing will rise over time. Biden's major accomplishments include the COVID-19 response, securing $4.6 trillion in funding for pandemic relief, including free vaccinations and treatment, as well as stimulus checks of up to $1,400 for individuals. Economic recovery, creating over 16 million jobs and reducing the unemployment rate from 6.3% when he took office to 4.2% by late last year. He lowered health insurance premiums and prescription drug costs for millions of Americans, combated climate change while fostering clean energy and manufacturing jobs. He cut taxes for middle and working-class families, implemented a minimum tax for multi-billion-dollar corporations, and cracked down on tax evasion by the wealthy. He signed a $1.2 trillion infrastructure law to improve roads and bridges and transit systems, railways, airports, ports, and energy systems while creating well-paying jobs, and reduced illegal crossings at the southern border, with unauthorized migrant apprehensions dropping by approximately 75% over 12 months. And then there was the CHIPS and Science Act, allocating $53 billion to bolster semiconductor manufacturing and high-tech jobs in the U.S., and expanding healthcare benefits for veterans, and enacting the most significant gun safety legislation in 3 decades. He issued an executive order to improve police accountability and reduce excessive use of force. He's hailed as the most pro-union president in history. And then, of course, there's the widespread student loan forgiveness, though some measures were blocked by the courts and certainly blocked by all Republicans. He repaired relationships with international allies strained under the Trump regime. He strengthened NATO and facilitated the addition of Finland and Sweden as members, and mobilized NATO to assist Ukraine in resisting Russia's unprovoked invasion. Whilst critics who don't respect elders or even understand the concept of growing old gracefully will continue to say that Biden was too old for the job, most people cannot argue that his actions make up a formidable legacy. Biden's presidency has redefined U.S. domestic and international policies, addressing critical issues with bold initiatives and significant investment. His leadership has earned praise for its impact on infrastructure, economic recovery, social justice, and global diplomacy. Joe Biden has been an outstanding senator, vice president, and president, devoting 50 years of his life to public service in elected office, a record that even the most hardened of reality TV show hosts would struggle to beat. I'm Anthony Davis. You can find me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with Midas Touch.